On today's video, we take a look at some amazing reserve list cards, and of course, these are cards that you should be watching. It's coming up next. Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day today. I am MTG Moxman and we are going to take a look at some amazing reserve list cards and the prices that move these big bad boys of comedy. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at a series of reserve list cards. And for those who didn't know, reserve list cards aren't coming back as much as people hope they would, as much as people pray sometimes, they've got to get rid of it. They're not going anywhere. It's going to stay the status quo. So let's take a look at some amazing cards. I'm going to bring up card number 1. Let's have some fun with this today. Singing Tree, of course, is from Arabian Nights, guys. This card is old. It's reserve list. It's epic. I always enjoyed the artwork as a teenager, but the worst thing that this card could do to me was turn my beautiful Shivan dragon into like a 0/5, right? It says tap to reduce an attacking creature's power to 0. There's no mana cost involved. You just tap him. And of course, as a reserve list card, we know it's not coming back, but you can find this card for $180 Canadian, heavily played right now on a platform like eBay. The average price there, you see where it says $1,399 US. Don't really buy into that. Look at that market price. That's right, $285.42 US. And of course, €298.33 will get you that card. Guys, this is an old nostalgic card on a very small 5 million print run. Something like 20,000 copies were made of this card. There's not a lot out there, okay? So as this card trades hands over and over, and as some collectors start slowly holding on to them, the sales were about what I expected. There's about one every few, 3-4 weeks or so. It's not a high moving volume card. But people who are trying to complete collections of Arabian Nights do reach out and always grab one. But each time somebody completes a set, there's one less possibility of somebody else completing a set. That's what happens when you deal with Arabian Nights and the rarity that it is. The Abyss from Legends needs no introduction. It's $1,400 Canadian for a lightly played copy. The average is $19.90 US. The market is $1,700 US. And it's €1,034.55 will get you that card. But let's talk about this Legends classic card. I remember what a game-changing card this was when my little weenie army with Crusades and Savannah Lions and Benelish Heroes and Mesa Pegasus, White Knights, couldn't make a dent. I couldn't get enough on there, the battlefield, to wipe my opponent out because he kept killing them one at a time, every turn. Boom, boom, boom. It was horrible. And guys, it's an amazing artwork card. It made me think more and more that when Wizards had Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, it was either an artifact or a blue card for power. That's all there was. But when they did Legends, Black got such a strong presence in this set, and so did Green, that you're like, wow, these cards are epic. They stand the test of time, and they're still game-changing. Love this card. Can't say enough good things about it. Let's take a look at the next card, which is Master of the Hunt, again from Legends. Now, it's funny, I always kind of tease my friends because he supposedly makes wolves, right? But that looks like dogs in the picture, like big great hounds. Now, $90 Canadian for a lightly played copy. The average is $88.75 US. The market is $71.80 US. And €46 will get you that card. It had some spiking and drops since then, but this card still continues to have very strong sales on the secondary market as people really vie and try to find the near mint quality copies of this card. Let's face it, trying to find an unsearched, unopened pack of Legends is next to impossible unless you've got the big bucks. So whatever's left in the pond out there, people are fighting over those little bits of the fish to see if they can find a better copy for themselves. But Master of the Hunt, you're awesome. What else can I say? All right, the next card is going to be Nether Void, another black powerhouse from this set at $1,400 Canadian for a light played near mint copy. 1644.06 is the average. The market is $993.76 US, and €705 will get you that card. Now, Nether Void, again, just countering all spells is just mean. And when you build this in the right deck, where maybe you can just pump out little creatures, make a weenie army that doesn't cost you anything, or has lands that can produce it for you, it just makes cards like this so much harder to deal with. So players out there, if you're facing this in a commander deck, you better have an answer. Legacy Vintage, same thing. If somebody's eliminating your land or keeping your mana pool down in a Legacy Vintage game, you better be thinking about, what can I do to the Nether Void? because I'm stuck in here and there's nothing I can do. A lot of times I would just scoop and play again. Now, Eureka. We've talked about this recently. And forget the spike you see on the board there. You can find this card for $900 Canadian for a heavily played copy. The average is $1374.50. The market is $1399.95 US, and €705 will get you that card. But finding near mint copies is hard. Okay, this card again is one of those Legends cards that almost makes you feel like it's a power card. Sure, it's a sorcery, but depending on how you've played it and what you've built your deck into, your opponent may be tapped out thinking he has the battlefield in hand. You play this, you drop down multiple Planeswalkers from a Super Friends deck, or you do some craziness they're not expecting, and Eureka all of a sudden, it's like Eureka. I had a great idea, and here it is. Be fearful of this card. This is a card to watch. It is going to hit $2,000. I tell you that now. Maybe not right away, but it's going to head there. All right, let's take a look at Tabernacle at Pendevale. Now, the funny thing is, as a kid, I remember opening this in a pack, but I always also remember that I always thought it was a white card. It's a white land. And we thought it was funny that they didn't tap for mana. They didn't do anything. They just sat there looking at you going, I just stand here as a land and I make you sacrifice creatures. Muhahaha. Or pay for them. Now, a lightly played copy is going to be $6,500 Canadian for lightly played. The average is $4,900. The market is $44.89. And for €3,933 and 33 cents, you can get this card. Now, it's been slowly trending down, and I'm expecting that trend to continue. Legends cards of these values are selling in the Italian versions very heavily as people are just fighting to get copies of this card. So be warned of that. Take a close look at your finances before investing in a massive, card like this that has those kind of values attached to it. And are you going to play with it, or is it just an investment piece? I still like to play with my cards, and I can find better ways right now of spending $6,500. Namely some power moxes. All right? That's just the way I feel. It's a good card, don't get me wrong, but I would go for a mox. All right, All Hallows Eve. That's right, raise your hand. Now, this card can be found in Legends only, and it's $1,000 Canadian for a moderately played copy. The average is €889.86. The market is €853.99 and €400 even, and you can get a copy of this card on Card Market. Now, again, it's had some dips and lulls, but the sales are strong, particularly in the Italian copies again. Guys, do not underestimate where the Italian copies will go in the future. They are being bought up because they're half the price. But what happens when those cards are gone? Unfortunately, Legends was only printed in Italian and English. You have no choices but to deal with one of those types of copies, which means eventually when they're all gone, that pool will run dry and you are stuck, my friends. So think about this as a long-term goal. If it's a card you're after, you might want to think about it sooner. All right, North Star. I like this card. Always have, always will. I like the artwork. I like the idea. And I like using colorless mana to pay for things, especially if you can ramp out mana really quick to start using it, because it does cost 4 and a tap to use it, but using any color mana to cast spells is amazing. Now, at $120 Canadian for a lightly played copy, the average is, of course, $117. The market is $72.12 US, and €74.98 will get you this card. It's have a massive drawback since its heights of 2020 to 2021. This card continues to pull back. The Italian versions, the English copies, they're all falling, but the sales are still staying steady. Okay, the sales are not dropping off that much that I'd be afraid of a total collapse of the card. It has to be used in a certain way in certain types of decks, which makes its playability slightly limited, but its collectability as a Legends card is still phenomenal. So keep that in mind before you decide to ditch a high-quality copy card like this one. Next up, we have Mana Vortex from the Dark. I remember when this card was a $7 card and I was telling people to buy it. Look at it now. $49 Canadian for a moderately played copy. The average is $53 US. The market is $59.07 US, and it's €44 and 20 cents. This card is coming down in price, but of course, it's dark, it's reserve list, and it messes with people's lands, which can make a lot of people upset, which means it's kind of fun to have around sometimes and just mess with people in your Commander games and have a blast with it. But you can also build some Vintage and Legacy decks that are just downright sick if you can get this card on the battlefield. Guys, keep an eye on the Mana Vortex. It does have a long way to go yet. It'll easily pass the $100 mark on the next buyouts. If it's something you want to keep an eye on, just follow it, put on one of your track sheets, and enjoy the ride, because Mana Vortex it's definitely here on the reserve list to stay, and it has some serious value coming up in the future. Now, when we take a look at our next card, that's right, we're back to Soldevi Excavations. I put these bad boys at the end to let you know I'm not forgetting about them, but they're back here at the end. All right, we've got $45 Canadian for a light played near mint copy. You can get them for 35 as the average. The market is 34.82. And the funny thing is, it's still €20.77 to get this card. It hasn't changed much on Card Market, guys. The buyouts there did not happen that happened here in North America. So there's still lots of copies of cards like this overseas. Amazing card from Alliances that people always forget about. And of course, I like to keep my eye on this card really closely. So now that it's dipped below the $50 mark, I am looking at picking up more copies. I'll be very careful though and very select, trying to get near mint quality copies anyway. And of course, I'm willing to pay that for near mint because they're that hard to find. So keep an eye on it and enjoy. Now let's check out the dark. Now the dark, I want to add a little kind of commentary to this one. It's still around the $150 Canadian for like a moderately played copy. The average is $99.49. The market is $98.71 and €87.81 will get you that card. But here's the thing. From the dark, we know the print runs low. And we did a video the other day showing you how easy it would be to buy out all the remaining copies for basically like $27,000, $24,000, whatever it was for money. That's not a lot. That means there's not a lot of copies out there that are English. Not only that, in the last 10 days, there have been a high volume of sales. And I've had more people now sending me bits of information, emails, pictures, showing me the cards they've bought and added to their collection. So the dark we now have stands at 121 copies that we know of where they are. I didn't hear back from Rudy at Alpha Investments. I'm hoping to at some point where he gives me his numbers on what he has to add that in. And I don't know where they all are, but I'm telling you, it's a pretty thin market out there for this card. And it is slowly going to trend up just from the fact I'm going to buy one every single month. It's going to keep going up. There's nowhere for it to go now, which is kind of funny. It's going to be a slower rise than something like we did with Soldevi Excavations. But I think the price is going to stick a lot easier because I'm definitely not going to sell back into the market like other people. I'm holding these bad boys for the long term. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this, okay? Because this is an amazing card. It's an amazing situation we're going through on the channel. And I'm really glad you're all here with me to take the journey. So let me just click this off now. Have that conversation with you. Guys, the thing is, reserve list cards are reserve list. There are lots of great cards out there in Magic that can get reprinted anytime, and that always holds people back from the investment side of Magic the Gathering. What makes a lot of investors anchor into this game is the reserve list. So although it's a pain for some people, it's a boon for others. These cards are not going to come back. They're going to stay rare, and they're only going to get rare as people come to recognize it. It's not like a collection of hockey cards from Pro Set 1991, right? Where they got mass produced. It's just not the same way. We know a lot of these print runs. We know roughly where they are. We just don't know the attrition rate. A lot of people are guessing, but I'm thinking way north of 50% now. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Make sure you give a thumbs up to the video. Smash the little bit of the subscribe button if you haven't done it already. And have a conversation. Join in the comments section. Let's talk. Have a great one, guys. Look forward to seeing you soon. Hey, and a big shout out goes to all those wonderful patrons who continue to support the channel. And you too can join the Patreon. All you gotta do is look my name up in the link section below for Patreon or my YouTube membership and help support the channel's growth, guys. Thank you, everyone. Patrons rock. So here you are. You've made it to the end of the video. Well, guess what? I'm gonna sit up. So we're here at the end. Something in my background is different. You have to find out what that different thing is and put that in the comment section. That's what I'm talking about. Something here is not right. I move things around all the time, but something is not right. And you guys are going to tell me. I have faith in you that you can tell me. I'm going to make you work for it, man. Going to make you work for it. You got to work for it. Have a great day, everyone.